Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Yoga for Women podcast, where today we are talking about something that I saw yesterday on an Instagram post that a bunch of people in my community had shared, and it really struck something within me to speak about today. So I want this to be the inspiration behind this episode. So I'll read it to you here. It says, shouting self-care at people who actually need community care is how we fail people, by Nikita Valerio. And when I read this, I immediately ran it through the lens of women, through the Yoga for Women approach. And I thought about how we, in our modern Western culture, we speak about self-care for women, and also how we speak about the concept of the village for women. And when I think about self-care for women, I agree. I think the more we shout at women, firstly, the more we just reinforce this concept and shame around not being worthy, around not being good enough, around not being able to do enough or be enough in the world. So shouting, of course, there's so many other ways that we can approach allowing women to explore what self-care means to them, looking after themselves, nourishing their own individual needs. And so self-care through this lens of women, really, I think we need less of things like encouraging women to take walks, to take warm baths, to book in a massage, to have that downtime for themselves. Because the reality is, for many women, it's not possible. So, how can we reframe this idea of self care when people really do require self care, but not in the way that we have been sold it in our Western culture? What if women required self care in the sense of nourishment of the self? What if women required self-care in the sense of more kindness, compassion towards oneself, a deeper understanding and connection to our bodies, things that we can cultivate from the inside out that don't require us to have to do anything additional to what we are already doing? Women who ultimately require self-care or need to be told that they need self-care usually are the women who are at capacity already. They're already feeling overwhelmed. Their needs are clearly not being met. The reality of that then is, for those women to feel like they have to add something additional to their to-do list is just going to lead to more feelings of unworthiness and more shame. But if we could support women to cultivate awareness of the self, so to redirect the awareness, because there is awareness there. If there is shame, there is awareness. So what we need to be able to do is support women in redirecting that awareness, towards self, towards the inner landscape. How does my body feel? How's my breath? How's my nervous system in the sense of what emotions do I feel? Am I feeling triggered in this moment? What do I need in this moment to allow myself to feel more supported? Could I be kinder to myself? Can I notice that I'm in story narrative around what's happening in this situation? I wonder if we could offer women this alternate approach, this holistic approach to self-care through the lens of not needing to do anything extra, not needing to add anything more to our already overflowing to-do lists, but rather to redirect our awareness inwardly and find more compassion and kindness and love towards self. I wonder how that might shift the narrative around self-care for women. And the second part of this quote was, for those who actually need community care. And this got me thinking about the concept of the village and how there are many, many people preaching the need for a village for women, for mothers, for children. And whilst my viewpoint on this has changed over time, ultimately, I believe that the time of the village has come and gone, and that the village also needs a reframe around it. And I'll tell you why. The concept of the village, in the way that it is marketed to us, is that we will find a large community and that we will have all of our needs met all of the time. The reality of that is that that's unlikely to manifest. But what is likely to manifest is community care, or a village in the concept of a handful of people that we can call on for support. You know, it could be one really great friend, a family member, a few friends. It could be a local practitioner in the area, or a community group that women can tap into. It doesn't have to be this huge community or village as it is marketed to us, because what this equally does, in the same way that self-care just reinforces the unworthiness in women, the way that we market the village is just leading to disappointment and the continual story narrative for women that there's not enough support. There is enough support if we know where to look for it. And there is enough support if we have the awareness of what our individual needs are and how to meet those individual needs. There is enough support. So the concept, or the energetics behind a village, is there for the taking. It is there and available for people. But we need to reframe our understanding of what that looks like. And if we can tap into the energetics behind self-care and community care, self-care and the village concept, then I think we have a really great opportunity here to begin to shift even more so the narrative around women's health and wellness, around women's healing, around women's shame stories. And we allow women to connect more deeply into their bodies and start to build sovereignty, to start to build that trust of self and that deep knowingness of what it is that we need, and knowing then how to support ourselves to have those needs met. So my invitation here is to contemplate what you believe self-care is, what your concept around the idea of self-care and community care is, and the village, and see what lands for you. Whatever lands for you, take it on board for contemplation and leave the rest.